Hi there, my name's Lily, and I have a tale for you that still gives me the chills. Now picture this. It's an ordinary, lazy afternoon. The sun's casting long, drowsy shadows, and I'm sprawled out on the couch, lost in the digital maze of the internet. A faint hum of the air conditioner in the background, the soft click-clack of my fingers on the keyboard. It's the lullaby of a typical day. The house is quiet, just the way I like it. Dad's at work, and Mom, well, she's probably engrossed in one of her mystery novels. She loves them, says they keep her mind ticking. That's when I hear it, her voice clear as a bell, cutting through the humdrum of the afternoon. "Lily, come down here, honey," she hollered. That's Mom, always needing me for something. Little did I know this was not going to be a normal call to the kitchen. As I started moving towards the stairs, I heard something that froze me in my tracks. It was a whisper, soft as a sigh, but as chilling as the winter wind. It came from the closet, a place usually filled with the comforting familiarity of coats and shoes, now transformed into a vessel of the unknown. The whisper, it was uncanny. It was as though an echo of my mother's voice was trapped within the walls of the closet, reaching out to me in a hushed tone. It was her voice, but not quite. It had the same gentle lilt, yet held a tremor of urgency I'd never heard before. It said, "Don't go down there, honey." I heard it too. Confusion washed over me, a tide of bewilderment that left me standing there, anchored in place. The voice had the same southern drawl, the same warmth that was usually laced with the scent of freshly baked apple pie. But this wasn't the kitchen, and the voice wasn't coming from my mother. Fear gripped me, a cold fist that clenched around my heart. I was caught between the call of the familiar and the warning of the unknown. I wanted to believe it was just my imagination, a trick of the mind, but the whisper was too real, too tangible. My mind raced, conjuring countless possibilities. Was it a prank? A cruel joke played by my older brother? Or was it something much more sinister? A shiver ran down my spine at the thought, the image of phantom whispers and unseen threats taking shape in my mind. I stood there, on the precipice of decision, the echo of the whisper still lingering in the air. The voice held a note of desperation, a plea for safety. It was a whisper that carried the weight of a scream, a warning that reverberated within the confines of our home. The voice from the closet was soft but clear. "Don't go down there, honey. I heard it too." There I was, caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. The comfort of my mother's voice, beckoning from the kitchen, tugged at me, while an eerie whisper from the closet sent chills down my spine. The whisper was soft, almost loving, like the voice of an old friend. But it was a voice I didn't recognize, a voice that shouldn't have been there. It was a voice that knew something I didn't. The dilemma laid heavy on my mind. Should I trust the familiar, the voice of the woman who raised me? Or should I heed the warning of the unknown, the voice that spoke of danger? The house was silent except for the soft hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen and the whispering voice from the closet. The whisper tugged at me, almost begging me to listen, to stay away from the kitchen. I could feel a knot forming in my stomach, a cold sense of dread washing over me. Was it fear of the unknown, or was it something else? I was torn between the safety of the familiar and the intrigue of the unknown. I was a mouse caught in a cat's game, unsure of where to turn. I knew I couldn't stand there forever, frozen in indecision. I needed to make a choice, to take a step in one direction or the other. My mind was a whirl of thoughts, a chaotic storm of what-ifs and maybes. But amidst the chaos, a single thought stood out, clear and resolute. The whisper. The whisper knew something. It knew about the voice from the kitchen. It knew about the danger. If there was a chance it could provide answers, I had to take it. I had to find the source of the whisper. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding in my chest like a wild drum. My hand reached out towards the closet door, trembling slightly. I had made my decision. I was going to face the unknown, to confront the whisper. I decided to open the closet, my heart pounding like a drum. With a trembling hand, I reached for the doorknob. The cold metal felt like ice against my skin, sending a shiver down my spine. I had to know what was in there, what had whispered to me in my mother's voice. My heart pounded like a drum in my chest, matching the rhythm of the ticking clock in the hallway. The door creaked open, revealing the familiar, yet now eerie sight of the closet. It was a room I'd visited countless times, a place where I'd played hide and seek as a child, a sanctuary filled with old memories. Now it felt alien and foreboding, like a stranger's house in the dead of night. As I stepped in, the smell of mothballs and old paper hit me, a scent as familiar as my own heartbeat. The closet was empty, a gaping void that seemed to echo my own confusion and fear. My eyes scanned the room, searching for anything out of the ordinary. But there was nothing. Nothing except for a small piece of fabric lying in the corner. As I picked it up, recognition washed over me like a wave. It was my mother's old scarf, a scarf she used to wear when we'd go out for our Sunday walks. I remembered how she'd let me play with the tassels, how she'd wrap it around me when the wind picked up. It was a memory filled with warmth and love, a stark contrast to the cold fear that now gripped me. The fabric was soft, worn from years of use. It still carried a faint scent of her perfume, a sweet floral aroma that once felt comforting but now filled me with dread. I wondered how it ended up here, in the corner of this closet. It was as if it had been placed there intentionally, a chilling reminder of the voice that had lured me here. There it was, my mom's old scarf, lying in the corner of the closet, as if it had been placed there intentionally. The question remained, by whom? And for what purpose? The answer, hidden in the shadows of the closet, was yet to be discovered. Just as I was about to turn around, I heard it again. The sweet, familiar sound of my mother's voice wafted up from the kitchen, its urgency tugging at my heart. "Lily, honey," it called, a note of desperation creeping into its tone. "Come here now." But as her voice echoed through the house, so too did the whisper from the closet. It was soft, like the rustling of silk against satin. It was the voice of my scarf, the one that had been my mother's, the one that still held traces of her perfume, and it was warning me, begging me. "Don't go down there, honey," it whispered, its voice growing stronger, more insistent. I heard it too. The voices swirled around me, a cacophony of sound that made my head spin. My mother's voice, so familiar, so comforting, but laced with a fear that made my heart pound in my chest. The whisper, eerie and unnatural, but somehow soothing in its quiet insistence. I stood there, frozen, at the top of the stairs. The light from the kitchen cast long, ominous shadows that danced and twisted on the walls. The whisper grew louder, more urgent. "Lily, don't go, it's not me." The words echoed in my head, a chilling mantra that sent a shiver down my spine. Not her? Then who? Who was calling me? Who was trying to lure me into the kitchen? I felt the cold touch of fear creep up my spine, a sense of dread washing over me. The unseen threat was there, lurking in the shadows, hiding behind the familiar. It was there, in the voice of my mother, in the whisper of my scarf. It was there, waiting for me to make a move, to take a step. And as the whisper came again, more urgent this time, I knew I had to make a choice, to heed the warning or to face the unseen threat. "Lily, don't go, it's not me." In that moment, I was more confused and terrified than I'd ever been. A cold shiver ran down my spine, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. The voice from the kitchen was familiar, warm, and comforting. Yet the whisper from the closet held an eerie familiarity, just as much a part of my world as the scent of Mom's apple pie. Caught in the midst of this auditory crossfire, I felt like a ship lost at sea, tossed between two powerful currents. The whispers and calls seemed to be pulling me in two completely opposite directions, each with its own promise of safety or peril. A decision had to be made, there was no time to waste. I summoned all the courage I could muster and decided to take a step towards the unknown, towards the stairs. No sooner had I moved than the house plunged into darkness. And that's when I heard it, a third voice. "Y'all, we're wrapping up here, but don't you go anywhere just yet. Show some love, hit that like button. Fancy more content like this? Go on, subscribe and let that bell icon ring so you won't miss a beat. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, sharing is caring. Until next time, stay tuned.